All right, here we are, metal roofing. I've got Dave Mackey here. Dave, thanks again.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Looks like we got a roof ready to go.
We do. We've got a mock-up here that's been all put together. And as you can see, the underlayment's already on the roof.
Okay.
So what we'll say just quickly is when you're doing new construction or we're in a situation where you stripped the roof right down to the deck and you have bare wood, you always want to be using an underlayment beneath the metal. You want that there for protection against condensation.
Okay.
Okay. So here we have the tried and true 30-pound felt. You also have available on the market synthetic underlayments that are either peel and stick or just use nails or staples, and both are good. Depends on what the application is, depends on what the slope of the roof is, and we can get into that in a different video.
Okay, all right. Well, you know, we get a lot of questions about metal roofing, and one of the main ones is just, where do I start? What's the sequence of events? Right. So what would be the first piece of metal that we would put on a roof?
So what we're going to do right now is we're going to show our audience how to install the Eave trim in an exposed fastener application for the SL-16 or the lock seam panel series.
All right.
So that's what we're going to do now.
Let's do it.
What we have here is your basic Eave trim. You can see here that it's got a drip edge. On the underside, it's been hemmed, so you have a clean, always showing paint. You don't have a cut edge here. This is what we're going to be using right now for the installation of this Eave. And the first thing that we're going to do is you want to get your Eave trim up. In this case, we have two corners. We have a corner on the left and a corner on the right to finish. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the Eave trim for my left corner. I've got the Eave trim up. I've let it overhang by about an inch or an inch and a half because I'm going to cut it a little bit. I'm going to make a mark on the underside, tracing the fascia and the gable board. Here you can see that I've made my marks, tracing the fascia and the gable board onto the panel. These lines are also going to be my bend line where I'm going to turn the corner. Using my snips, the first thing that I'm going to do is cut up to the line, and then I'm going to remove the part that sits on top of the roof. I'm going to make a slight angled cut to remove this hem. And this piece is going to fold around the front. So you see that when I put this on, this tab has been folded around the corner. The drip edge has been angled a little bit so that when the gable trim comes on, they meet up with a nice mitered corner. And there you have the left corner. I'm going to do the same thing on the right-hand side of this roof. So now I have the Eave trim that's been prepared for this particular section. You can see that it's been bent around on each corner. Now I'm going to fasten it to the roof deck using Pancake head fasteners. You could also use a roofing nail. My only suggestion is that when you're fastening a trim like this, if you're using a roofing nail, it's a lot harder to take up if you've made a mistake. This is a Pancake fastener, called a Pancake fastener because of its flat head. So it's a low profile screw that you can use on trim. It doesn't dimple the panel that goes on top of it. It comes in either a Phillips head or now more often you're seeing it in a Robertson head as well. And this is what we're going to use to install the various trims that we're using. So there you can see we have the installation of a standard Eave trim for use on the SL-16 panel. This is going to be for an exposed fastener application with the detail on this trim that we have folded around each corner on the left and the right.